So the race is on for Congress to pass President Trump's spending bill by his self-imposed deadline of the 4th of July. Senators are working through the weekend because of that on their version of the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill Act. And while Democrats can't stop the bill on their own, they do have a new plan to slow down the process a bit. Our Jay O'Brien joins us now from Capitol Hill. Jay, what's the latest?
Yeah, Phil, you mentioned that new plan that Democrats have. We expect, according to a source, that Chuck Schumer will announce not long from now on the Senate floor that he is asking the clerk of the Senate to read through the entire bill text, nearly 1,000 pages covering this laundry list of Trump campaign promises and tax cuts and cuts to services like Medicaid and SNAP, the food assistance program, on and on and on. Schumer has obviously railed against this legislation, and reading it is not just a mechanism of trying to slow down the process, but it also is to demonstrate what he alleges are the negative aspects of this bill. But it comes as the Senate is really in this kind of holding pattern, Phil. We had thought that they would be having a key test vote, a procedural vote, a vote to really just start debating and discussing this legislation really by now. And John Thune, the top Republican in the Senate, was whipping votes to make sure that he had the numbers in his own Senate Republican conference to even clear that procedural vote. But that vote hasn't happened yet. Unclear if it's going to happen tonight. The sense that we get from talking to senators is that they are preparing for that procedural vote tonight. But right now, it hasn't been called yet. They're not on the floor voting yet. And so a lot of this is still very much up in the air, Phil, as John Thune tries to make sure that he has the numbers in his own party. He can only afford to lose 3 Republicans. And he has multiple Republicans who say that they don't like certain sections of this bill, whether it's those cuts to Medicaid or the spending, et cetera, et cetera.
I wonder how long it would take to read 1,000 pages. First off, I don't know if they gave you that, but any changes that are made in the Senate have to go back to the House. Is there any way possible, could someone stand in the way of this bill in the House, Jay?
Well, we kind of actually know because this has been done procedurally before. So our guess is somewhere between 7 to 9 hours, but that is purely just a guess. So don't quote me on that, on how long it's going to take to actually read through the text of this legislation. Now, as it relates to the House, that's right. If the Senate ultimately is able to pass it out of its chamber, hopefully by this weekend or potentially into Monday, depending upon how long all that procedural stuff takes, then it goes back to the House. And we've already heard, Phil, from multiple House Republicans, 3 by my count and potentially more, who say that they are going to vote no on this legislation because of some rewrites that were made in the Senate. And these are Republicans who voted yes on the bill the first time it passed out of the House in May. And remember, Phil, when it passed out of the House in May, it only passed out of that chamber by 1 vote. So Mike Johnson's got his work cut out for him.
All right, and Jay, they're just putting this in the teleprompter. I want to read this for you and our viewers. Senator Schumer just shared online, quote, "I will object to Republicans moving forward on their big, ugly bill without reading it on the Senate floor. Republicans won't tell America what's in the bill, so Democrats are forcing it to be read." So there you go. That's official confirmation from Chuck Schumer on Twitter as we look at the Senate floor. Jay O'Brien from D.C. Jay, thank you very much, as always.